Hello, myself Sunil Ramkrishnan, and here basically we are talking about the earthquakes. Basically, earthquakes. Basically, how basically earthquake comes. What is the reason basically behind the earthquakes? Most of things basically we have already discussed. Then and universe level basically mapping basically that we will be going to discuss how they have done the mapping of the earthquakes. Here basically just we are discussing the Earth planet level earthquakes basically. So basically, one person told that in previous video, basically we saw that A blood group basically handles the buildings. Means whatever building more than 3,30,000 buildings are there. Assume that more than 6 lakh buildings are there in this world basically. Assume just taking as an example. In real number basically, don't go into number side. Number basically can be totally different. Assume that there are more than 6 lakhs buildings basically in this world. They are basically controlled by A blood groups. A blood group means around 150 crore people basically body's energy basically are controlling the buildings. So you can just imagine basically up to what level the things are mapped with the human body, because the universe says that you are staying in the earth planet, so you have to handle each and every objects because you have created. So if you have created, then you only have to handle it. So that's the universal law basically. The things basically which you have created, that is basically the earth planet has created, you only have to handle it. So that's why basically the universal law. So each and every building basically human has created. Earth planet human has created. Human are basically lots of humans are there. But Earth planet human basically has created the buildings for their purpose basically, for the staying purpose. So you only have to handle this. So for that basically the scientist basically told that it's a universal law. So basically we can't um, we have to basically handle the universal law, because earth planet can be end within just millisecond basically if we break the universal law. That also millisecond basically, but that basically they will never do. Why? Because the lots of things basically are pending side. Lots of things basically, because to create the for example, I have taken the one example, right? In last video, that when the world was started basically, that time basically the blood cell count was 5 lakh 15,000. Means first person basically when he got the birth, that time basically his blood count was 5 lakh 15,000. That means when the last time the world was ended, that time the world was ended, and that time the last person who died, his blood count was 5 lakh 15,000. And then the world, so just see basically each and every tracking basically universal groups are basically um, keeping. So when the world started, the 5 lakh 15,000 only the blood group, the blood cells was there. And from that the world started, and 6 lakh 15,000 currently world is having the blood cells. So maximum count of the blood one person basically is having, that is 6 lakh 15,000. So just imagine the dangerous level. So here basically the thing is, that is with this all things are basically normal basically, who just basically the watch the video. So here the things basically is 6 lakh 15,000 is the blood cells count basically, which basically says that currently one person is having this blood cells counts, that is basically 6 lakh 15,000. So by just taking as an example, really basically this will never happen. Assume that just now basically world ended. Just with after 1 second the world ended. So that time the blood count will be 6 lakh 15,000. 6 lakh 15,000, some count will be there because every second basically the blood cells. keeps on increasing. It never decrease. If it's a 5 lakh 15,000, then it will go to 5 lakh 16,000. It will never go to 5 lakh 14,000. Why? Because universal law says that once the planet is created, you can't end the planet. That's the universal law. So universe say that once the planet is created, we will never end the planet. So Earth planet basically the universe group are never going to end. Earth planet is never going to end. Human basically will end. All objects basically will end. But the planet basically never going to end. So whenever the new human generation will start, that time basically the blood cells count will be 6 lakh 15,000, something from number. From there basically the world is going to start. The world is going to start. New world basically. So here basically the thing is the what the scientists say that scientists say that once the we have basically done the mapping of blood groups. That was basically our basically actually they have taken risk or not taken the risk, that basically time only will say. But few people says that it was a risk basically by allocating the blood group. So we will not go into that detail basically because that's medical groups detail information basically. But that why basically doctors group basically has taken done like this creation. But it's a universal law na basically. They only says that universal law. So here assume that um, a blood group basically was handling the buildings. A blood group was handling the buildings. So it's next time basically when the cycle basically gets changed. That time it's not possible that A blood groups are going to handle building only. They might be allocated to trees. This all basically human body don't know basically. Human are not supposed to be aware about this out. That basically for that special groups are created basically. That are basically the energy doctors. The doctors basically are where basically you take the medicines. The medicines basically controls the entire human bodies. So the medical industry basically they are basically aware that next time basically when A blood group is going to create, sorry, when the next time the A blood group is going to give the energy to the environment, that time the tree is going to handle by the blood group A. Next time basically the buildings are not going to control. So just see basically the dangerous thing basically. It's very dangerous basically. So each and every group says that we have kept our value. We have kept our value basically. Medical group says that basically if this basically automatically this is not going to happen. You have to do lots of process basically. So just see basically how what the world is going. So few people says that we will finish the city only. Then basically again we will create the thing basically. Army group says this only. We will finish the city basically if you are keeping your values basically. So that type of things also there basically. So here basically we are discussing that each and every blood group basically keeps on changing, and their basically mapping are also getting changed. So that basically is the medical history medical group basically who do this. So here basically this all this thing basically has to be handled also, has to be managed also basically. For example, somebody says that we want the report basically of the this blood group basically up to what level mapping basically he has done, and what how much success rate basically has happened. So for that basically the software industry basically comes into the picture. They basically handles each and every data basically. To handle 800 crore people basically, how it's very difficult, right? How it's very difficult. Then one person told that we just have to handle these 22 blood groups only, na? Why we have to handle these 800 crore people basically? Because whatever things basically is going to happen to a blood group, that is only basically going to happen to the entire 150 crore. That basically he told that that is also correct basically, but the whenever the real picture comes basically, that time basically things totally change. When the real data comes into the environment, that time basically things totally change, because you don't know. For example, that a blood group don't know that his blood group is allocated to 150 crore people basically. So the direct mapping is not there basically. 150 crore is connected with this one a blood group, so that basically a blood group person don't know that he's so basically important for the world basically, that 150 crore people are connected with him. 150 crore people are connected with him, that basically he don't know. That means his value basically he don't know. His value basically he don't know, because 150 crore people, 150 crore people means whatever things basically they are going to do, that is connected directly with this particular person. So you can just imagine basically what are the things currently happening. So 150 crore people are connected. Few people says that to save city basically we will go up to what end level also. End level means if for example one person is due to that one person basically earthquake happened, then we will damage his head, we will damage his eye, anything basically we will do. For that basically few people says that we have purchased that laptop company, we have purchased this computer company, and we have done lots of things basically. We have given lots of business to him, so that basically we want control of his computer, we want control of his laptop, we want control of his mobile, what actually he is doing. So this is actually what? This is actually called as a badala. And badla basically keeps on moving basically. If he has done this, then basically that person will say, I will do that. This keeps on moving, keeps on moving, keeps on moving, until the person basically will not die. Until the person will not die. And the entire group will not die. So like this basically keeps on moving. So here basically what actually this is actually just now basically what I told, what was that basically? That was basically the one of the behaviors of earthquake basically. One of the behaviors of earthquakes. So how many types of behaviors are there of the earthquakes? How many types of behaviors are there of the earthquakes? Few group says that A blood group is very silent basically blood group. B blood group basically is very angry blood group. C blood group is a little bit angry and little bit quiet basically. Then he told basically we want to create vegetables. So which blood groups basically can create? Then the scientist told that basically you do one thing, you use a C blood group. There basically mixed blood group is required. Then basically human resource group basically says that yeah basically we need these blood group resources. For that basically they will start searching the people. So the HR managers basically knows, right, which type of blood group basically they gets from the which database. So human resource group says that basically we are also playing very dangerous role basically. Not dangerous, very dangerous role. Not dangerous, but very dangerous role. Because they are giving the resources to the companies basically, and company says that we are basically blindly believing the human resource group basically, because human resource groups, we have told human resource group that we want we want this type of resources for this particular project because we want to generate the vegetables. For that basically human resource basically don't know that the this project is going to generate this project basically who is going to create. For that basically this type of resources are required basically. But top level human resource management basically they know. So they basically gives the data directly. They don't basically believe in any of the human resource people basically. So they only give the data, and the human resource based group basically calls like this. Hello, this is basically from this consultant. Um, we basically required project manager, software delivery head, project director, or basically project leader for this particular project. Name basically they will never tell. They will say that for this particular, for example, for Accenture, for consultancy, we require this type of resources. So, are you interested? Then basically that resource basically will say that if he is having good if he's currently basically is having good salary package, then basically he will say no, basically currently I'm happy, I don't require any job. If the another resource is basically currently is not happy, then basically he will say yeah, basically I want to shift the job. And the resource basically who is not having the job, basically he will by default going to tell yeah, basically I am interested, basically you can proceed my biodata. Then the human resource basically will proceed the biodata to middleware software company. Basically Accenture basically never comes into the picture directly, because they know basically what are the things which they are doing, because the projects are very critical. The projects are basically very critical, because anything can happen anytime, because they also know. That's why they basically directly never involves in the projects. They directly never involves in the project. So they basically hire consultants, and consultant says that basically yeah, basically you are basically into probation period for 3 months. After that, basically if your performance is good, then basically we will directly hire you in Accenture consultancy company, or basically Capgemini or IBM, or Patni. Basically Patni is also there, or basically we will hire in your eclairx, or basically numerator company basically, or basically you can say some horizon company, or basically some Rishabh software company. So directly basically this type of company basically never comes into the picture. They basically hire the consultant, and they says that on the behalf of you basically we are taking the resources, and after that basically if you feel the resources are good basically, then basically we will hire that resources permanently in our organization. That is basically the company name. Basically mostly nowadays basically there are many types of companies: CMM level 5, 6, 6 sigma, basically CMM level 4, 3, 2, 1, ISO level, private limited company and limited company. Like this basically the company organization basically has created also like this by the company secretary groups. Basically they have created, we have not created. They basically know the rules and regulation of each and every companies. Sorry, type of companies basically. So, like this basically the company gets created, and it's not so easy also to create the company, because you are basically directly creating the projects, and that projects basically are going to generate the vegetables energies. Nowadays basically almost all companies basically has jumped into the human need creation projects. Why? Because they get more projects. For example, one vegetable basically costs, for example, one project company owner basically told that for one tomato basically it cost 10 rupees. So he basically has created one project only itself to create the tomato basically tomato, or potato also basically we can say. So 10 rupees is the cost of one tomato. So one project basically, if the data keeps on processing, then per day basically the energy company might basically generate how many tomatoes basically. At least basically they will generate 1 crore tomato. So 1 crore tomato multiplied by 10, how much is this? More than 10 crore basically. More than 10, 12, or it can be less also, because tomato basically sometimes gets spoiled also. Mostly it's more only basically. So from per day basically, see if he's earning 12 crore basically from one project, basically one simple project basically. But data's basically, to create the data basically, there are lots of hard work basically, the IITs, IIMs, they basically do. They basically just give, they basically have the real data basically. They know that this person basically can generate tomato, this person basically can generate potato, this person basically can generate vegetables, this person basically can generate oil, energy basically. So IITs and IIMs basically, in IIMs basically everybody knows that how many groups are there. IIT, IIM Ahmedabad is there, IIM Bangalore is there, IIM Kanpur is there, IIM Madras is there, IIM Chennai is there. Sorry, so Chennai and Madras both are same. So IIM Madras is there. But now it is Chennai, so IIM Chennai is there. Then IIM Guwahati is there. Like this, basically, Delhi is also there. Like this, there are lots of IITs and IIMs groups. Their salary basically starts from 5 to 6 crore per annum. Reason, their tasks are up to that level basically. That's why. They are basically, you can say, doctors of the IT industry. If you say that I want basically this doctor basically, then you just need to hire the IITs and IIMs only. They only can able to solve your problems basically. But they are also basically handled by lots of people basically, but they only have the solution basically. So one person told that the basically he told that basically uh, yesterday basically in India basically there was some jashan basically. Jashan means basically you can say something basically nice thing happened. They basically eat lots of sweets, but sugar people basically can't eat, so they have not eaten. They have eaten sweets, this, that, basically, and I don't know what they are not eaten. Lots of basically public was basically outside. They eated this, that, that. So due to that, basically, there's some different blood cells basically got generated of that day, and that day blood cells basically was going to use after few time. That blood cells basically is going to circulate in the environment. So just see basically the dangerous thing. They have filtered each and everything basically, and they circulated the blood energies basically near the each and every city basically. So that time basically what happened, when the data was circulated in the environment, that time suddenly basically the earthquake happened. Suddenly basically the earthquake happened. The reason was the too much of things basically consumed by the each and every people, because they were not able to control the thing basically. So they had lots of things. So due to that basically the environment basically got disturbed. And here the main thing was, India is totally connected with across the whole world basically, right? Each and every countries are connected, each and every country's energies are basically connected with the whole world. Due to that basically the main reason was that of earthquake. And people says that then the tectonic plates, the earthquake, that basically are on the picture, on the on book basically. In real basically the earthquake are basically from top of the where basically top of the earth only basically, where the people stays. There basically the environment are handled of the earthquake. So here the thing is what? Here the thing is, you have to find out the total earthquake basically just now came, types of earthquake basically. For example, till now after basically the science has reached up to the certain level, and lots of software basically has created also. From the software basically they were able to track that there are basically uh, around 2 lakh types of earthquake basically came. 2 lakh types of earthquake basically. Just now basically I had told one example. Too many foods basically consumption, this, that, this. There was no control. So that was one type of earthquake. Like this basically there are 2 lakhs of types of earthquake basically came into the India. So like this basically he told that how many types of earthquake basically till now basically has came in India. So he told that it's a 2 lakh bro. 2 lakh. 2 lakh types of earthquake. So in next level basically we are going to discuss this types of earthquake in detail and how basically that is connected with each and every human bodies and each and every objects in this India land basically, that is the buildings, vehicles, trees, sea, water, lake, swimming pool, then each and every buildings, commercial building, each and every software parks, each and every roads, each and every vehicles, and each and every basically objects of the each and every object basically which contain which basically exist in the India land.